Welcome to another episode of Zero Ales and Hockey Tales with Wally. And today I'm so excited to have on a 35-year-old from Irvine, Scotland. Came up running amok with the Bisons of Basingstoke, laced up for Team GB twice in the under 18s, winning a silver and then a gold, where he had 6 goals in 5 games played, folks. But he was not exactly known for his goal scoring prowess, as he is a legend of the EPIHL, where in 463 matches, he amassed 1,658 penalty minutes. And he is the co-host and creator of the podcast 4,000 and Counting that is running amok all over the UK hockey scene. Welcome to the shed, Nicky Watt.
I'm finally in the shed, baby. Let's go. Let's go. Here we go. It's nice to be on the other side as well. It's nice not to have to write the intro, not to have to think of anything intelligent to say. So
I totally agree. Pressure's off today, man. And I get into how we know each other. You invited me to your shed a couple months ago, right?
We've done it once before, and it's nice to be on the other end of it. And it's good to see shows like ours and fucking boys like us helping each other out, man. And this is what it's all about. We're trying to give UK hockey fans, through both your show and our show, we try to give them like access to all the fun shit that we know about, which is the guys and the guys' stories and what happens on the road and what happens in the room and when you're on the buses and staying in hotels and the card games and all the fun, like the stuff that's
the not on the ice stuff, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? Sometimes we talk about ice hockey and it's pretty rare.
Yeah,
it's nice. It's nice to speak to guys like yourself. How'd you end up in Cardiff? All of a sudden you're over here and then you're like a legend there. And that's interesting. Oh, they love you there.
Yeah, strange times. But yeah, so I did come on 4,000 and Counting. And that would have been, what episode do you think I would have been?
Oh, I could tell you right now. I'm gonna go.
How many episodes have you guys done now?
167, I think.
Really?
167, 168. Plus, obviously, we do some lives and stuff that go onto Facebook that we probably don't. We didn't in the past. We didn't release those as episodes, but now we kind of, some of the live ones we're doing, we're putting out as episodes on Spotify and stuff as well. Luckily, recently we've been able to talk to a bunch of cool people like coaches, GMs, and stuff like that about next season. Like today's episode is coming out. We just spoke to Richie Hargreaves, who's Bristol's GM, who have just moved into the National League. We spoke to Hull's GM last week about moving back to the National League as well. So for like the fans that are wanting to know what's going on with these new expansion teams, they're getting to hear right from the horse's mouth, which is great.
Is Bristol the team that just signed on to be the affiliate of Cardiff?
That is the one, and that is the one. They are going to be sending guys on a 2-way between like Cardiff and Bristol, which can only benefit because they're going to get up to experience what the elite league's like.
See, and that the reason I know that was because Brody DuPont's first photo shoot as head coach of the Cardiff Devils, he had quite the salad on him that day.
I seen it. It's too good.
And now that he's been to the shed, I had never met him before, but now I feel it's fair game to chirp him on social media because he is an approved shed guy, coaching my favorite team. So I'm pretty jacked up about him being the coach. And I did chirp him because he obviously did not go to Ken Picton before that photo shoot. You know?
It's so good. I did see you chirping him on that. We've had him on, and I'm excited to see how he does as a full-time Devils guy, because from speaking to Franny and speaking to the guys down in Cardiff, they like him and they like what he brings. So
the players, the other coaches, the people around the team, all like, he seems like a great dude, and you can get to know a guy by podcasting with him, can't you?
Oh, absolutely. You especially if you're not like a fucking boring podcast that asks the same stupid questions all the time. If you actually get into a guy and you talk to him, about stuff that's going on, I think like you're talking to a guy for maybe 90 minutes, maybe a couple of hours. You get a chance to really get to know him.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. So today's the day. It's my questions, eh? So how did 4,000? How long ago did you guys start 4,000 and Counting, and how did you come up with it?
Well, initially, obviously, Spittin' Chicklets came out, and when it was still RA and Wit, way back. And my brother, I'm around my parents one day. My brother goes, "Have you ever heard of this Spitting Chicklets?" I was like, "No, I've never. What's that? What's a podcast?" I didn't even know what a podcast was. Like, I'd been on like one, but I didn't really think it was like a big thing. And anyway, he turns me on to Chicklets, and I'm like, I'm way behind the eight ball. Like, they're like maybe 150 episodes in or whatever it is. So I chuck it on. And I'm listening to a couple of the guys being interviewed, and I'm like, man, that sounds like fun. That sounds like some good fun. And you keep listening. My brother was like right there at episode 1. So he'd been listening to it for like 2 years before I even knew what it was. Anyway, I just put on Facebook, put a little status. If anybody's not heard of Spitting Chicklets like me, being under a rock for like 2 years, check them out. And then Bandy clicks on the link, he listens to an episode, and he's like, "Bro, that was fucking awesome. I love that. Cheers for the shout out." One of the other lads, Mac, he comments, "Oh yeah, I like that." And then 2 months go by, Bandy's crippled. It's like 3 a.m. and I get a tweet from Bandy, "So are we starting this podcast thing?" And I was like, I don't know. Obviously, with me being banned at the time, I'm like, I don't know how it's going to come across. He sucks at hockey, so it's like, it's not like you're a big name. And there was supposed to be 4 of us on the journey. Armour came in, he did the first episode, and he was like, "Look, work's crazy. I'm not going to be able to commit to this." And by the end of episode 1, it was clear that it was just going to be myself, Mac, and Bandy taking the lead with it. We self-produced. When I say self-produced, we had like Bandy doing editing on a phone, just taking like 4-minute chunks out because we didn't know what we're doing. It was horrific.
What do you do when you edit stuff? I've never done it.
You get a producer, buddy. that's way smarter than the 3 of us combined.
So do they like take stuff out, or do they just make it sound better?
Both. They take stuff out if they go, "Ooh, you sure you want to go there?" Like when something's maybe a little bit, he'll give us the option. He'll go, right. You could be a can of worms there for no reason, or we could just take it out and it doesn't ruin the conversation. Or if a guy accidentally chucks someone under the bus, we always give like the players a kind of a veto, so to speak. So if you come on and then you told a story and you're like, "Oh, actually, that's gonna get the big man in trouble here. I better recant that." We'll take that out because we're not trying to get anyone in trouble. We're not trying to get anyone divorced. We're not trying to get anyone sacked.
I agree that you don't want to get anybody in trouble. It's never came up that I've had to cut anything out, that anybody's asked for me to cut anything out.
Sometimes the occasional one where a guy will go, "Oh, he signed for him. Oh, fuck, I was definitely not supposed to tell you boys that. Can you wait until the club's not releasing it until Friday? And obviously it's going to be on your podcast before that. Can we just make sure?" That's cool. But other than that, it's nothing really. I think what you'll find with having a producer, he's good at taking stuff out. So like if I'm answering your question now and I go, or do you know when you're interviewing someone, they keep going, "Eh?
You know what? I like that shit."
We did, but we found like when he started just producing some of it, our episodes were getting shorter for a start because sometimes they were creeping, and you look down, and he's going crazy, right? Because he does a lot of this voluntarily, and you know what it's like. There's hardly any real money in the game unless you're the big dogs.
I don't know how you make money. I've been doing this for a long time. I still don't really get it, but I do know how to compensate my volunteer poster maker guy, Lee Freeman, very talented man. Freeman Designs, that makes all the posters. He was in the latest episode. That jersey behind me, folks, I'm raffling it off. I'll sign it. I'm going to wear it. It's going to smell like body odor and all sorts of stuff. And we're raffling that off at aleshockeytales.com, and all the money raised is going to go to Lee, because in the world in 2022, I don't think there's that many dudes that would. I asked him to make one poster and it was awesome. So I asked him to make another one. Next thing you know, I don't think he realized he had signed up to make closer to 200 posters, and he never asked me for a thing. He's never asked me for a cent. And I don't think that happens in the world very often anymore. So I'd like to thank him by actually figuring out how to make money in my shed, right?
I'd do it, man. We're all for it. I'm hoping guys like like us and our shows can keep going from strength to strength. We've obviously both got quite a good following. People are tuning in, people are listening, and we're kind of the places to go to get your UK hockey info when it comes from the guys. Obviously,
we've talked before, right? Where it's kind of like us no budget small boys against the big boys, right?
Yeah, we're batting with the big dogs though. We're always both right up there. Obviously, you've got your 32 Thoughts, you've got your Chicklets, you got these guys. These guys are on national TV. They have
you go to Sportsnet.
Yeah,
I go to Sportsnet to watch the NHL hockey games, and there's the link, 32 Thoughts or whatever. Like,
yeah, right.
Click here, and you're right on the podcast, and you're like, well, people ain't finding us like that.
No, and well, we did. Here's a funny story. So we're like fucking 18 months into this thing, and we're still not showing up on any of the charts or anything like that. Because I don't know about you, but we had no clue what a podcast was or how to start it or what to do. So it turns out we didn't have our RSS feeds linked up. So we're not even, for the first 18 months, like we're not even chart eligible. We haven't got any of our background stuff sorted out. Just a complete and utter joke. We're like, how are we not getting in? Like, I know so many people that listen to us. Surely we're getting more listens than
what do you do with the RRS feed? What do you do with that?
I don't know, but yours must be working because you're in the same charts as us, bud.
Okay.
So it's working for you. But so like we weren't showing up in any of that. We had to get all that taken care of. And then all of a sudden, like we're in the charts and we're near the top of the charts quite a lot. You know, us guys have been
other than the big dogs. Pretty cool, eh? Would you see that?
It is, because it's not why we got into it. But then when it's there, it's like, hey, well, we're in the top 10. We might as well stick around. We might as well keep pushing. And you know,
I find it weird in the podcast world that like there's people that could just take breaks. They could take weeks off. They could just not do it. And like, I remember when I started this, I was thinking I'll do like one a week, you know, that's probably what I have time for, one a week. But then I just liked it too much. I love talking to my friends, and I love catching up with people and figuring out what the hell they're doing with their lives. And to think of only doing it once a week is not nearly enough for me. But then it's weird in the podcast world because they rank you every day. They have charts of how many people listen every day. And it's like, and if you're competitive and you're a hockey guy, how do you take a break?
I haven't gone too much into the analytics of it. Obviously, it'll come through and I see bits and pieces that will say, you know, you've had more so from yours. And I was wondering about your technology, but you go, oh, I've got a guy from Romania listening and a guy from here. I don't seem to get as much in-depth stats. How do I find out where all these crazy cats are listening from? Because that's really cool. For
me, I just Googled how to start a podcast, and there was a thing called Anchor with Spotify. So then it has a dashboard that it tells me where your audience is, their age, male or female.
I'm gonna have to go into the back cave and have a look and see if we can figure it out here, because
I think it's really fun to see where people are listening. And then it all starts making sense when you start talking to people in your shed, because you always wonder, how the hell is there someone in Romania listening to me? But then you realize Ben O'Connor was there and Rico Rossi was his coach, and they won the championship together.
And it's nice when you see like all these connections come back. And even when I was out in Slovakia 2 years ago watching GB and Kosice, people coming up, yeah, we listen to the podcast, whether it be fans from the UK. We had a couple of guys, you know, because we'd had some, a Finn on, we'd had Lithuanians on and stuff like that. So some peculiar countries like tuning in, and that's awesome.
And like you said, it's not why you get into it, but it is really fun to watch your baby grow, right?
Absolutely. I think we're 3 years, just slightly over 3 years into it now. We've had a couple of charity games. We've had rec tournaments. We've had golf days.
You've organized fun, is what you're saying. You've had a lot of fun.
So much fun, and especially those charity games. We had like 50 guys down for the first charity game. It was a shit show. It was so much fun. Like,
it's hard to even decide what to do with all the different opportunities that coming out to your shed can make happen. And I am having a golf tournament June 25th here at Kincardine Ainsdale Golf Course. Sign up at aileshockeytales.com. Same place you can buy all the merch or clothes or whatever that Sean's making, and raffle tickets for my man Freeman designs. But yeah, I agree.
Love a golf day, buddy. Love a golf day. That's gonna be so much.
It's fun having fun, isn't it?
So on our golf day, I might be able to send you the video. You can put it out on your social media. So my brother, Sam Waller, and two of my friends that are not hockey guys are in the group behind us on the way out. So we play 36. We start first thing in the morning. Everyone's crushing pints like 9 a.m.
36 holes,
Oh,
drinking the whole time.
Never again, buddy. Never again. It was great for 27. So anyway, we're playing, and they're in the group behind us on the first 18. And by the time they're already crippled, and they're really getting in one. We get back to the clubhouse. They end up going out the last group. So the videos start coming in. My brother's missed a shot. He's chucked his 7-iron into a tree. So then there's him and Waller, and they've both got their putters there, and they're chucking putters up into the tree to try and knock the 7-iron down. As they chuck it up, the putter snaps in two. So now they've got a 7-iron in the tree and a broken putter. I think my brother finished the round with like 7 clubs in his bag. We just had such a good day. There was like 36 guys out golfing, and you know what it's like when the boys get together. It's always a good time.
Well, update for the folks for mine is I'm at 15 and a half foursomes. So I've almost filled the course. I've almost won my game. That's my goal, is to get 18 foursomes. Everything after that, gravy. But there's a lot of folks coming to town with a good attitude, ready to golf, right?
Absolutely.
And I can't wait.
So
your brother was a hockey player too, though, eh? Or
yeah, he still plays. He's playing for Streatham. They won the league this year and the playoffs. They had a really good season. He's won wherever he's went though. Like if you look through his stats, whether he's won the EPL playoffs a couple of times, he's won the cup a couple of times, he's won the league, and then he dropped down. He's won the league there. They won the conference when he went up to Braehead. I think just wherever he goes, he picks up trophies, and I have had no luck as such.
Well, yeah, a lot of it depends where you side and how the boys gel, and there's so many parts to winning a trophy, isn't there?
It's so hard to win a trophy as well. Like everybody's gunning for the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. Okay, getting into still how we know each other. I guess we've just been chatting again. You guys we're swimming in the same pool. We have some of the same guests on.
Of course.
The way I thought to have Tom Darnell on was I saw he was on yours, and that's when I decided to reach out to him.
How good is he, by the way?
He's awesome. Great dude.
What a guy. And I like that aspect as well of bringing the referees in and normalizing these guys, because they're all fucking beauties and people give them shit their whole life. And if you like,
I heard you gave them a lot of shit.
When?
Darnell said you were mean. You were yelling a lot at him.
What, when I was on the ice?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, when I was on the ice.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I'm on the ice. Hey, there's no friends on the ice. That's different.
Well, you got to be trying to be a little bit of friends with the refs so they give you a break, no?
Well, some of them.
You got to hold them accountable, but you can't be that mean. Or...
Exactly. There's a line, and we try and stay on the right side of it, because no one wants to sit for 10. Nobody wants to sit for a 10. That's a selfish one. You end up costing the team. So there's a line you try and push without going too far over.
I understand. But yeah, no, it's sticking with the podcast world here before we move on to get into your hockey. I think it's really cool when I see yours up there and the shed. But realistically, it is the guys that are making the time to come on, right, and talk to you. Like I texted you a couple days ago and I said, I don't think I have any more time this week. I have too much going on. I have work, the kids, and we're getting ready to go camping. And I'm like, the only time I would have is 5:30 a.m. Friday. And you're like, let's do it. I'm going camping too, right? Or you're going on vacation.
Yeah, we're off. Me and the wife are off. We're going to Manchester, Lake District, Scotland. We're setting off tomorrow as well. So both pre-vacation. And this is kind of what you got to do sometimes to make these shows work. We've had like NHL guys on where they're like, yeah, I can only do this time. And it's like fucking 2 a.m. in the UK. But you're like, well, he's an NHL guy.
If you're going to do it, you got to do it.
You got to do it, right? And continuing on with the podcast thing, like I never thought in my wildest dreams when I was a kid that I was going to be sat there interviewing Theo Fleury, asking him about like sex abuse and fucking all the shit that happened in June, asking about all that, asking him about blowing $3 million and questions that he's probably not getting asked by mainstream media. We were like balls deep in it, and the guy answered every question, and then he kind of pinched himself. I was like, I just interviewed Theo Fleury. Like, how has that even happened?
I know.
From a drunk tweet Bandy sent out, I know, maybe 18 months before, and then we're sitting down with Theo. I was like, this is insanity.
For me, I find it interesting. Different things I've learned from talking to everybody that know more shit than me.
Oh yeah, by the way, and I also realized how much more shit people know than me when I talk to them.
Yeah, my geography's gotten better too. I understand where a lot more countries are. I go to different places and I recognize things based on what people have told me. I know more about food.
It's honestly the amount of stuff you pick up. You pick up some crazy ideas from people that they may have had, and you go, actually, that's a good idea. Let's run with that. And we also like to ask our guests for some any sort of other questions. Like we normally do our cheesy ones at the end, but I can't remember who told us this now. But they was like, you should add a question into your cheesy ones, and it was, if you was a GM, who would you build a club around? And I was like, as a cheesy one, I think that's a great question to really get into a hockey guy's mind. Like, do you go a goalie? Do you go an Ovechkin? Do you take Vasilevsky? Do you go Mcdavid? Like, if you're a GM, who do you take? And all of a sudden it starts to open up this dialogue, and you get to really see.
So who would you take?
Who, me?
Mm-hmm.
I'm a Tampa Bay Lightning fan, so I'm going to go with Vasilevsky because Tampa won their last 10 series. He's had 6 shutouts in the last 7 game 7 deciders and stuff. The guy's a joke. Series clinching, not game 7, sorry, but series clinching.
Yeah,
6 shutouts in 7 games. His stats in those games are 99.5 goals against. 99.5 in those 7 games. Like,
yeah. When the Leafs were going into game 7 against him, it's like, wow, that's gonna be tough to beat.
But then obviously the way McDavid's played again this playoffs, you watch the guy and he's a cheat code.
Yeah, he is very fast and good.
How much of a nightmare would that be to play against him?
It would be. I think in the playoffs, though, you put Ryan O'Reilly against McDavid.
A good guy like Ryan O'Reilly or Bergeron, someone like that can just always be the right side of the pot.
Well, yeah, and it's like a best of 7. It's going to be like who's going to break who, and I don't think anybody's going to break Ryan O'Reilly or Jamie Benn or guys like that, right?
But McDavid right now, OT winner last night, takes them on to the finals. I think.
Did they win? I've been sleeping, and then I got up and came out here.
So we had disallowed goals. We had
he scored the OT winner, eh?
Yeah, of course he did. Yeah, of course he did. But yeah, I forgot what you asked me because we go off on tangents, and I don't know how you find it when you do your pod. Like, you can ask a question and it just takes you down like a different avenue.
Oh, and then when they're answering, I find I'll have something to say, and if I don't jump in there right then, I'll be trying to remember what I was going to say.
Yep.
But then by the time they're done their story, it makes no sense to bring that up. And then you start stumbling, and then maybe I should have an editing team. But that's one of my last questions about is you do it with a partner and a producer. So scheduling can't be like me, because my story is with one of the first people I ever texted about this was Hendo. And I said, hey, I'm going to start a podcast. You want to do it with me? And it took him like 2 hours to respond to me. I'm like, I don't got time for that shit.
Well, it's a nightmare. So, and this is the thing that probably a lot of people, unless they listen, wouldn't know. So when we first started the podcast, Bandy was living in, wait, where was he? Bandy was living in London, but he was moving to Australia to play hockey for a year, or New Zealand for the summer. Then Mac is in the RAF, so he's in Belgium. He's based out in Belgium, so he's living there. And then with that, Bandy comes back from New Zealand, moves to France, to Morzine in the mountains. Mac then moves back and goes to Doncaster. So basically, we've had people in 3 different countries try to arrange it. Then you got our producer, who's kind of like 30 miles down the road. Our producer is a secret. So I don't know if you've ever heard her refer to him as Claire on our show, because I'm not sure if you're familiar with the TV presenter Claire Balding. So our producer's going a little bit bald, so we've called him Claire Balding, kind of as an undercover way of not giving his name away. So he hates that. So I thought I'd bring it up on here where he can't edit it out.
So he is going bald.
Oh yeah, he's fucking losing his salad up top for sure.
So is it going with the horseshoe up top, or is it just thinning?
It's just thinning and
see right into the scalp everywhere.
Yeah, it just sucks for him. But then I play with a load of guys that have had hair like that. And
well, look at your hair. How old? You're 35. Jeepers.
It's so gray though,
solid.
Man.
You think that's gray?
I just had a haircut. I had a haircut like 10 minutes before I came on here, but yeah,
it looks like you put some fresh product in too.
I'm ready to go for this shed, man. I'm ready. But I want to give our producer a shout out though, because we wouldn't be able to do what we did with the quality of the sound and stuff without him. It does take such a big amount of pressure off the boys. But like you say, because we've now gone to that quality and like the quality is really good, I would be like you. I could sit down and interview somebody every single day.
Every single day.
If I go to him and go, because he's got a real job. He's got like real jobs. He's produced like #1 records as well for bands. He works with all sorts of cool people. If I went, hey bud, here's 14 hours of podcast from this week, he'd be like, yeah, go fuck yourself. Not happening.
Yeah.
I can't. So 1 a week's kind of the sweet spot. I would love to do more. That's part of the reason why we started this Facebook Live series. So anything that goes out on Facebook Live, we don't edit before it goes on Spotify, because if I've said something stupid, I've already said something stupid live to the people. It's too late. So keep it in the podcast and off it goes. Put it on YouTube as it is. It doesn't matter. That's fine. It also means that maybe those weeks we can get like a couple of episodes out, because he doesn't have to spend any time editing it. He can just put the intro in there, put the ad reads in there, and off we go. We got 2 episodes that week.
Yeah, I just send it. I just have my intro song for before and after, and then I just send her, because I don't have a producer, an editing team, or anything. It's just me and my shed, right? So
I would definitely advise it, because it just makes such a difference to the sound. And obviously, like with us all having dogs and stuff, like I could be trying to do this right now, and the dog comes in, and she always picks like the time I'm recording to get the loudest bone to chew. And she's a big dog, man. So all you can hear is. So our producer can get rid of that sound in the background, so you don't hear that. Like you can just, it's much better.
Well, for me, I like doing this. I like this.
It works. It's so good.
But this is the part I like. I don't want to waste my time editing shit. I don't want to waste my time making little clips for YouTube. I'm just gonna send it and keep doing what I like, because that's why I started this, right?
And it's the way it's working as well. Like you guys are killing it. You're killing it.
Well,
and it works. People like it.
Yeah,
that's what we want. Well, actually, obviously, I want people to like it, but that's not the reason I do it. The reason I do it is for probably the very same reason you do it, because how much fun is it to catch up?
Yeah, well, one of the biggest reasons I did was, I like yourself, I went on a couple and I thought, holy shit, I feel better. I talked about stuff that I hadn't talked about in 5 years, and it made me feel better. And I was like, that's a memory for my family, for my kids. Someday, maybe they will listen to that. I don't know. And then I was like, I could do that for all my friends. And now when I come out here and I do it, and sometimes the wives will say like, thank you so much for having them to the shed. It's a great memory, blah, blah, blah. And like, when you start hearing that shit, it can get quite addictive that you end up getting up at 5 a.m. to talk to people.
Oh yeah. Big shout out for you for getting up at that time. And I've also found that it's quite funny when you're at events and it's like, so when the fuck am I coming on the show then? Like I was up at Coventry and they're like, guys are like they're waiting for the call up, eh? And I like that. I like that the boys are waiting for the call up, that they want to come on the show, shoot the shit, have fun and tell some stories. It's always fun when you get the retired guys. Always fun when you get like even some of the older school retired guys. If you can interview any of like I would suggest one for your podcast. We had him on ours. Old school Cardiff Devils legend Paul Heavey.
I don't know him.
Right, listen to his episode on us. If you want a guy to come on and just tell stories for 2 hours, Scottish guy, Cardiff Devils captain, coach, won trophies, absolute legend. So it fit in well with your your market. And man, he came on our podcast and just told stories all about the playing in the 80s and the 90s, and it was a blast. Honestly, it was one of the funniest like 90 minutes, 2 hours of my life.
Well, and it's crazy for me, like how much happier and better mood I am when I lock one down. I have something to look forward to, or when I've just done one. It's like it's a passion, and I mean, it would be cool someday if yourself and your crew and myself could somehow like actually get compensated doing what we love, right?
Absolutely. I mean, for me, I think the sport in the UK is missing a beat. Like, let's get us guys more mainstream. You've got people talking about hockey left, right, and center who are old, who have never played, or they've never played at a very good level. They're holding a lot of the TV positions within the UK. They're holding a lot of the kind of social media positions, talking about the game and stuff. Where let's get some fresh blood in here. Let's make it interesting. Not necessarily us, but
one thing that definitely helps is like the Sheffield Steelers. They supported me through Twitter and through their social media, and how much it helped it grow by having David Sims on and him supporting me. Like, if the teams supported us and they weren't worried about what we were going to say about them, that like, I think the reason teams don't really get behind us or get promoting us, or like, because I think this helps their brand grow, getting to know their players, their fans enjoy it, and it will get them more into hockey. But they would need to support us and not be worried about what we're going to say about them, because we're just telling the truth, right?
I would never say anything that I don't think is the truth. I might specify I think something's my opinion or whatever, but I know from the first year, we helped a little lad who had leukemia, Zach. He was 5 at the time. We organized a thing through Glasgow Clan and Raise the Sunshine charity, where it's kind of like a Make-A-Wish thing. And he went up to find the Loch Ness Monster, and that was his wish. So this kid, they asked him, where you want to go? He could have went to Disneyland. He could have went to Mexico. I think his mum and dad were like, they go to Disneyland. It's like, but 20 grand to go there. We'll go there. But no, all he wanted to do was go to Scotland. So that was the plan for the Sunday. They were going to go, and they were going to go out on Loch Ness. And this company had arranged a mechanical Loch Ness for him. I don't know how they did it, but so like you could see Nessie in the water. It was amazing. It was all over TV. But the Saturday, we had arranged for him to go up and just have like a day with the clan. So we had Fitzy, they were taking on Manchester. So we had Fitzy and Finner. We had behind access for both coaches, and the coaches let him read out the team talk. And then Springer had him doing like the clap at the end on the ice, presenting man of the match. Like, he was on the drums, he was playing with clangers. So like, Glasgow really looked after us there. So like, they went up on our podcast estimations like massively. We've then had, like, we went over to, anytime we go to Cardiff, anytime we go to Cardiff, we're on the gantry. Todd's looking after us. Franny's looking after us. We went up to Nottingham, and Dan Green and the guys up there, they gave us a box. They're very good. Belfast, like Thornton and that, they gave us a box and didn't look. So we went, so do you know the game that finished like real late, the Belfast Cardiff game where there was a goal that was not a goal and it was on the goal line, and so we was at that game, and they gave us a suite right up top, and they locked. They
just gave it to you.
Well, we messaged Thorns. We're like, yo, dude, can we get some like media stuff going on? He's like, yeah, just messaging my guy, and they put us in a suite. Honestly, like, the Elite League have actually been very good at looking after us. Every club we've been to have been they've been very, very good. And yeah, so we get in there, and like, we're buying cocktails and stuff, but they've got a Red Bull fridge, and Bandy's like, oh, fancy a Red Bull. Goes to the Red Bull fridge, it's locked. They got the Red Bull fridge, let's say, is 18 inches by like 30 inches. So it's not very big. Then they have a beer fridge, which is like 80 inches by like fucking 40 inches. This thing's jacked. It's stacked full of beer. Tries the door. It's open. So, oh boy, did we tie one on? we were hoping for bonus hockey. We were like, don't score. That's like another 20 minutes of free beer here. Let's go for bonus hockey.
Sounds like Wally night in Cardiff. There's free beer that one too.
I wish I was there. I was watching from afar, and I was like, at that point, that's when we first spoke on the podcast about getting you on. We was like, we need to get him on. What a beauty.
You probably wouldn't have even known who I was until that.
No, I was watching the Devils, obviously prior to that, and to be honest, when I was like wasn't playing anymore, the first like 4 years of me not playing, yeah, I'd maybe pop down the rink and watch a game or go to see the guys and catch up. But I wasn't following hockey. It wasn't until I started doing a pod. I was like, shit, I better know what I'm talking about here. Like, I wonder who did the Devils play today? Who did the ENL2 Devils play today?
You
Who
know
did
what?
this-
There's
you know what I
way
mean?
too much shit to know, though. I can't keep track of everything. I don't know what's going on in everywhere because, like, I have a hard time keeping up with what I'm doing sometimes, and there's no way to know everything that's going on in hockey. So for all the guys that think I should know what they're doing every day, I don't. Right?
Yeah. How are you announcing like names? I'm brutes, but I struggle.
I names, I don't know. People's names don't seem that bad, but towns can be hard.
Yeah, when you get a guy on that's been playing in Czech Republic for the last 6 years, and you look at it and you're like, how am I going to get this into the intro? I can't even say
and
the
that's
word.
when you just got to have fun with it, right?
Oh yeah, of course. And luckily, I found
I got
everyone...
a question. Who's your
Go ahead.
most listened to episode?
Ooh, I'm going to say maybe our first ever interview with Colin Shields.
Okay.
That could be one.
You've never really looked, eh? You don't know what's the top listened to. This dashboard thing literally has
tells you that.
It like once I've done so many or whatever, it literally ranks them from top to bottom. And it's very interesting to see who's where.
I know Theo's interview had a lot. Anytime we have any of the Cardiff guys on, or any Cardiff connection, we get a lot of listeners on that. The officials, when we had the officials on, Simsy, when we had Simsy on, he was good. Like he had
Simsy's his two are my most listened to.
Well, there you go. Like he's probably not far away on ours as well. And I can just picture his ego getting bigger and bigger as we're sat here pumping his fucking tires. So let's pump the brakes on that.
Okay, well, we better move on. We've been talking about podcasts a long time because I know we both really like it.
Oh, I love it, baby.
Where and what are you doing now?
So
you're gonna have a kid.
I am gonna have a kid in like 8 short weeks here. So
your life's gonna change. Scheduling a pod's gonna get a little more different when you're getting shit and puked on.
I'm gonna be able to do some like 2 a.m. ones with guys in North America when I can't sleep. I'll be like, boys, just jump on.
And you know what's funny? All it is cutting out 2 hours of your life for yourself, right? Like when guys will make the time for you, you can make it happen. You can get up at 5 a.m. or you can do it late night with Matt, Keith, and the boys out west, you know?
Oh, what beauty he was. My brother played with him in Glasgow.
Yeah.
But yeah, going back to it. So yeah, I'm a personal trainer. I'm in the fitness industry. Obviously, we've got the podcast. We've got our like kind of rec tournaments going on as well. And going to be doing sports massage from the end of the year, from the end of the month. So just try to broaden my horizons and keep growing the fitness industry side of things, as well as.
So you're going to do training and massaging?
Yeah, man. I really enjoy massaging. I've always enjoyed it. Like since
what if a dude's really hairy? How do you feel about it then?
Nah, that's not happening.
Go
get a wax. Go get a wax, bud.
Higher price before you're getting involved. Then, eh? You're not getting the thumbs dug in deep on the hairy fellas. Right?
Dry heave. Yeah. Nah. So that's I'll have some strict policy rules there. But I think from being around the locker room and being around a lot of sport guys, and most guys aren't that hairy. There's some
werewolves. Very hairy. Yeah.
But I'm hoping I don't have to deal with that. But hey, money's money.
Right.
Do anything once.
Yeah. No editing team. I can't say that.
I don't care.
Okay, here we go. So you know what you're having, boy or girl? You find it
out? So actually at our rec tournament, when we had all the guys down at Ozone, we did the gender reveal where we tied a balloon to the top corner and hit it first time.
Did you hit it first time?
I hit it first time, and I was nervous about hitting it because well, dude, like what you see on the video is me taking a shot. So all you can see is the glice area, the net, and me shooting. What you can't see is the 200 people behind the camera. And I'm like, because like everybody came down. Obviously, we had the rec tournament. There's 100 guys there to start with, and then we had family members come down, friends come down, and mums and dads and everybody. And then nobody had like everybody was messing around with the cameras, taking ages. So I'm just stood out there waiting. I'm like, God. And the whole thing I'm thinking is, do not miss. Do not miss. Do not miss. I'm like, someone please tell me you're ready for this gender reveal right now. Like, yep. Like, dink. Little snapper popped her up. Baby boy.
Baby boy. Well, congratulations. Picked out any names?
We got a couple. Obviously, with me being Scottish, we're going to go down the Scottish name route. There's kind of 3 or 4 in the mix, but I don't know, whatever she wants on the day, I imagine.
It's kind of how it works.
Yeah, pretty sure she carried a baby for 9 months, so I probably don't get that much of a vote.
Well, they don't have to just carry it; they got to get it out of there too.
Yeah, wow, that's something I'm not quite ready for yet. I'm still got 8 weeks to prepare for that.
It's an experience.
I've heard.
All right, then. Okay, moving on. You are from Scotland, Irvine, Scotland. Where's that?
That's in Ayrshire. It's about 35-40 minutes outside Glasgow.
Ayrshire,
yeah. Some beautiful golf courses around that way. So if you're into the swinging the sticks.
Well, I'm into it when I don't like have kids and a podcast on the go. I haven't even played yet this year.
You better get some rounds in before the 25th then, bud.
I don't think I'm going there to win the tournament.
Yeah, right. I didn't even think I ended up finishing our golf day. Like, we got to like 27. I was like, that's a lot of golf. I'm done.
That is too much.
Okay. Well, it's so Ayrshire is a beautiful place, man. Go down on that west coast of Scotland.
Coast of Scotland.
If you've never been,
I've only got off a bus and walked into the Fife, Dundee, or Glasgow arena and played hockey and then left. Right. I've never really got to tour around.
Oh, it's a beautiful country, Scotland. All up that west coast is stunning. Obviously, there's the North Coast 500. We did a part of that last year. We didn't do the full amount, but
the what?
North Coast 500 is where you start right on the top right and you come all the way around the top of Scotland and then all the way down the west coast. It's amazing.
And what, the 500's like 500 kilometers or what? Miles.
Yeah. And Scotland's honestly, dude, it's such a beautiful country. You have to check out the North Coast 500. It's kind of like the British equivalent of Route 66, right?
Right.
Apart from it's not one straight road, it's loads of twists and turns, and you've got just stunning views. We went to the Isle of Skye last year. It's the first time I'd ever done that, and what a place! It's absolutely phenomenal. We're right up on the north coast of Scotland.
Definitely never seen really Scotland at all. Don't know much.
They like a drink up in Scotland as well.
It seems in the UK people like to have a couple drinks. I don't know why I fit in over there.
It's a mystery.
Scottish food, what's different about Scottish food than the rest of the UK?
Well, you
got the Scotch eggs, probably, right?
Yeah, I have a heart attack if you eat it every day. So I'm a big roll and slice guy. So slice is square sausage. If anybody's not tried it, you need to try and get involved.
What?
Slice, so it's called. Do you know, like over here you get sausages, but they're just like link sausages, normal,
round,
just like
sausage. Yeah.
So this is flat, more like a patty. It's made out of like lawn steak, and it's amazing. It's so bad for you, but it's amazing. That's obviously great. I'm a big haggis guy, actually. I know some people are not a fan of haggis, but if it's done properly and you eat a nice bit of haggis,
haggis. Yeah. That was, I talked to someone about this. Wasn't it like almost like a porridge type thing? Like what is
haggis
it?
Is like sheep's intestines filled with blood and all sorts of good stuff. I don't think you're really supposed to ask. I think you just either eat it. Just like, I'll give it a go. And actually, it's really good. Black pudding, stuff like that. Everything that I've said. Deep fried Mars bars. Deep fried Mars bars.
Yeah, that was a weird one. I had that after game at Fife, I think it is, right? Where there's
that must have been.
I didn't think that was good. Fife. I did not think
it's not good. It's not good. No. It's really not. But if that's your thing, fill your boots.
To be honest, none of the food you mentioned sounded very appetizing to me.
They'll literally give you diabetes.
Black. What was it? Black
pudding. I think they call it maybe blood pudding in the States and North America.
That sounds good. What's that?
Oh, it's amazing. You have it with breakfast. Again, it's probably stuff that you shouldn't have. I couldn't even explain it. Again, it's made out of congealed blood, I think.
Oh, good Lord. It's like, yeah, because in Germany they'd have the blood sausages, right?
Yeah, okay. Similar sort of thing.
I wasn't touching that shit.
Oh, really? I bet you would have loved it. You just got to try these things. And
I want to try things, but when you're calling it a blood sausage, no, I'm not.
That's why I called it black pudding. Doesn't sound much better though.
No.
And then I think obviously Scotland's more famous for its whiskey and its golf. So
I'm not mad enough for whiskey, so there's
you're not a whiskey guy.
I'm not tough enough. Not nearly tough enough.
But
it buckles me, and I don't really like the flavor. To be honest, that's why I don't drink it. I don't like the flavor.
What about like maybe a nice single malt Scottish whiskey, a bit more expensive?
Not mad month. Probably wet the bed.
like my next door neighbor, he drank with me one night. So I'd only been living here for like about maybe like 2 months. My next door neighbor, he's like 50, he's a bit older than me, got grown up kids and stuff. Great guy, bit of a beauty. He was a bit of a football lad back in the day, so he was a bit of a boy. And we get him, me and my other neighbor, he's a big like motorbike guy. We get him out for drinks, and we get him crippled, and he drinks like a bottle of rum. So then it's the next day. His wife comes out in the morning. I'm outside just by getting the car, go to work. And she just fucking eyeballs me. I'm like,
oh, she's mad.
I'm like, whoa, what's happened here? I'm like, morning, vet, you okay?
You got Frank the Tank back out, eh?
Oh yeah. So she was like, I was until he got home last night, got his cock out and pissed in the corner of the bedroom. I was like, no, he didn't. I was like, I can't take the blame for that. That's not my bad. He brought the rum from his house. He just drank it with me.
Right. It's not your fault.
That's not my fault. But I was like, great story, though. Thanks for that. I'm going to tell that on the pod.
Well, those things can happen. So anyways, you research team went hot, though. Okay. You start with the Basingstoke Bison, which is not in Scotland. So what's going on here?
Excuse me, moved to England when I was 6, so I never actually played any hockey at all in Scotland. All my hockey started at the Basingstoke, what was then called Hockey Basics program. Me just running around on skates, not being able to take a stride, absolute wobbler, and went right the way through the June development program. And I in fact, I think I probably played my first game for the Bison when I was like 13 or 14, because you could play up back then. It was then like the BNL and the Crossover Cup. So by the time I was 14, I was skating like every week with the Bison, like 2-3 days a week. Sometimes sitting on the bench. So, and then that BNL season, I think I was 15, played maybe 10, 12 games or something like that. And then it was the following season, the first year of the Elite League, I'd went to play in Florida in my 16, 17 year, played for IMG Academy. And then once I came back from the academy.
Sorry, what? You went to that thing Barry McKenzie went to?
Yeah, he was my line mate. We fucking ripped it up, baby.
Did you get a scholarship too then?
Yeah. Yeah. So we went to the same program. Great fun playing with Barry, the 2 Scottish kids out in Florida, just living it up. Accents just being clutch. And
and let's be honest, the British folk dress a little differently too, eh? A little tighter pants. Gals might like those tight jeans, right?
Yeah, well, man, Florida.
Accents and tight jeans, ladies.
I don't even think I took a pair of jeans to Florida. Like I'd gone from living in Basingstoke, where it's sunny 4 days a year, to living in like Sarasota, and it was 30 like all the time. It was amazing. We had great gym facilities, and we were truly spoiled because it was IMG Academy was part of the Nick Bollettieri Tennis Academy. They had like the US national soccer team program there. They had like PGA golfers there. Maria Sharapova was there when we were there. I think like the Williams sisters trained there sometimes. So the facilities were phenomenal. We just didn't have enough travel teams to play against, so the quality of the opposition wasn't great. If you were playing like the best teams in the state, it was good. But you know what it's like at some of these, you're playing some of these guys and it's just like a waste of time.
Yeah, that's boring stuff. Okay, not to skip over stuff here though, but when you were with the Basingstoke Bisons in under 16, episode 1, Luke Piggott was on your team.
Oh, he's my boy.
Piglet.
So me and Piggy grew up together. So I think he became my left winger when we were maybe 8 or 9, and he stayed my left winger until I moved to IMG. Right the way through, with the same age. He was just a great kid, and he was obviously so intelligent. We always used to like have sleepovers at his house or whatever, and we would play backyard hockey. We'd always be, his brother was a goalie as well, Ross, so we'd have like a goalie always, and we had like 1-on-1s and 2-on-2s, and you just played all day and had good times. And he was always studying, always knew from a young age. He was a kid at practice who brought books and was reading. We were like shooting balls around the rink, and he was doing after school club and staying late and putting the hours in. And wow, has it paid off?
Yeah. You got to actually be that smart. It's not just about work ethic, it's a little bit of both, right?
The whole family, her brother Ross, sister Fiona, dad Neil, he's a killer, straight, clever man. And Christine, she keeps that whole crew together. Like the whole family, super smart, great people.
Yeah, fantastic. Love the Piglet. And he's getting married, folks, but I can't do everything. I can't go to Switzerland to your wedding, Piglet. Sorry, buddy. I want to be there. For you too, but can't do everything, right?
I actually saw him just recently, the last game. So we went down to Cardiff, and I took some of my friends. We were there for a stag do. So I made a couple of calls and took the boys down to the Friday night game against Dundee. Pigsy was there, so I got to catch up with him there, which was awesome. But that game was a sellout on a Friday night, man. We couldn't get seven or 8 seats together, so everyone just stood in the bar and watched from the bar.
Well, yeah, the Devils are quite a popular brand these days. But so 2003-4, you do play 47 games in the EIHL, but you're what, like 17 years old?
Yeah, 17. Still in the face cage.
So the way you play, you're not filled out enough to play the role you're used to, eh? At that age?
At that age, I had a couple of, I think I've always been a feisty player. I used to fight quite a lot when I was a kid. I had my first fight in the Elite League away in Belfast, and I fought Mark Morrison from Belfast, and I done really well. And I remember in the post-game handshake, Paxton Short like grabbing me and going, "Hey kid, that was fucking awesome." And I was like, "Oh my God, yes!" It's like, yeah, way more pumped up than I should have been. But I mean, I don't think I got a fair crack of the whip. I probably had a bad attitude as well, because I was 17 and I had a chip on my shoulder. But like they were bringing guys in like playing ahead of me who were fucking terrible, like really shit hockey players. So that like kind of put a bit of chip on my shoulder. I think I did okay for my age, and I wasn't scared of anybody. Where you were John Craighead, I'm going to run you into the boards. If you're Mike Ware, I'm going to run you into the boards. I didn't care. I don't know if you remember the documentary. It's called Tough Guys. It's from way back, and I can't remember who talks about it. Is it Brandon Christian? It's one of those guys. So we played against Waresy the night before, and we got coincidental minors for like roughing or whatever. Like, luckily he didn't rip my head off and pound my face in. But we had a battle, and we were talking in the box. I'm still like 17. He's like, "Good for you, kid. Keep battling out there." And I'm like, "Okay, I'm taking it on board or whatever." And then I get home that night, and I'm watching the Tough Guys documentary for the first time, and the guy goes, "Yeah, so who's the toughest guy you've ever fought?" And he goes, "I fought this Western League kid back in the day. His name was Mike Ware, and he fucking knocked me out." And I was like, "Ooh, that was real lucky one today, because that would have not went well for me." But like these were the guys I grew up watching, like Mike Ware, Ivan Machulik. I had him on my pod. I remember meeting him in BC, hanging out in Penticton, and then I'm like playing against him. Like, so that was always fun. I think if I'd have played more that first year in Basingstoke, I would have went back the second year. Instead, I dropped down to go have some fun and go play with the guys. And I would have been interested. I could have played in the Elite League. There's no doubt about it. Like, I had opportunities later on, but the money was a joke. There was no real desire to go back and do it.
Right. And yeah, then you play a smaller role, and if you're getting decent money in a league below and you get to be the guy, it's way more fun being the guy, right?
Well, not only that, like, so don't get me wrong, that year in Basingstoke, like Matt Reed, Blake Sorensen, those guys really took me under their wing, looked after me. Blake was phenomenal because like you're 17 years old, you have no money, right?
Yeah.
You're not making any money. You're off on road trips to like fucking Edinburgh and Fife with like no real money. You're expected to be at every practice and do all these things. You try to hold down like a part-time job, try to go to the gym, you try to do all these things. It was just it was a bit tough. But guys like those veterans, they looked after us. We had James Hutchinson on the team. This guy's a big time beauty. So we used to like to party, play a bit of computer, you know, and have a little smoke, get the import guys, all the BC guys, you know, they like to get involved. So we had quite a like relaxed team. Everyone's pretty chilled and we had good fun. But then the next year I go to Slough and we just had a wild team. It was wild. It was so much fun. It was like nights out all the time. We're in Windsor one night, we're in Ascot one night, we're into London. Every guy went, you know, like it was one of those sort of teams where if one guy's going out, 10 guys going out, everyone's going out having a good time. We were pretty, and I got, like you say, on the ice side of things, now I'm on some PP minutes. Now I'm eating PK. Now I'm actually taking the draw with a minute to go in a game. Like these sort of situations, I knew I could have played in, but unless you put me in there, how am I going to play there? So
you got to get the opportunities. But one thing, you rhyme off some places you're going, London, Windsor. And it's like, now that I talk to people in the UK in my shed all the time, it's weird how there's London, Ontario, Windsor, Ontario, Paisley, Ontario, like Kincardine. There's that in Scotland too. And that's where I live. It's very strange that like everybody got on boats, came over here and like, let's name it all the same town.
Bring exactly the same names over. We'll just mix them up a little bit.
But the big ones over there, let's make those the small ones here.
Yeah, it's too good. Because like I was finding that when I was living in Florida, there was like this is Winchester and this is this. I was like, no, it's not. I'm from England. Winchester's there. It used to be the capital of England way back before America was even existed.
But the things you can learn talking to people, right? But one thing I don't want to jump over is when you're I guess not getting much ice time in the pro leagues because you are 16 and 17, but you did make Team GB under 18. How'd you that must have been a big deal for you, eh?
It was so much fun. The first season, sorry, we had a Scottish coach called Alan Anderson, and we were up in the higher division, which Division 1A. We were playing against some good hockey nations, Germany, Austria, Latvia. Who else? I'm trying to think. Japan and one other. And he picked way too many Scottish kids that were not good enough, and we got fucking smoked. Like there was better kids that got left at home. I'm still bitter about it now because
you got to take the best team, right?
We got relegated that year, and I am adamant that there was some guys that stayed at home that summer that didn't come that would have made us a better ice hockey team and then would have gave us more of a chance to compete. But it wasn't to be. We got relegated. And then the next season, my second year, that was Pete Russell's first year as Great Britain coach.
Okay. And other guys on that were Barry McKenzie again and Mark Richardson.
Oh, Richie. So Richie was my roommate for Great Britain on one of the trips. Absolute stud. One of the best British players to have ever played the game.
Yeah.
He's still getting it done. We've just seen him pick up one of the best 3 players in the World Championships for Great Britain last week. I mean, I imagine he played that last game hurt because he didn't play the game before. I imagine he didn't look himself. He looked like he was maybe carrying a knock. And that just tells you everything you need to know about him. Like, the guy's hurt, but he's still going to go. He's still blocking shots, still doing everything that you could ever ask him to. Brilliant leader. And
he'd never show, he's never going to make an excuse. He's never going to whine about playing hurt. He's just going to go out and do her.
Every time. Mm-hmm. Every single time. And I love players like that. And then obviously touched on Barry. We had a great relationship. Obviously we played together in Florida for a year. So when we came back, we maintained contact. He's been on the show as well. We speak about kids and stuff like that. Obviously I've got a kid coming. He's just had one. And it's good to keep in contact with guys like that. And I think a big part of that is through doing these podcasts, because I don't imagine I would probably keep in contact with that many guys, as many guys as I do, had I not done the podcast.
It's crazy, man. I came home and I was just out of the game for like 5 years. I just didn't really have much to do with it. And it was until I started coming out to my shed. Now all of a sudden I'm texting with everybody again. But the thing is, it's not just me texting. It's you have a guy on and then all your teammates start texting with each other, and all the guys that knew each other 10 years ago, all of a sudden we got something to talk about again.
It's great. And someone will always be, if in advance, like let's say we've got player X coming on and his teammates find out and he's done some funny shit, we're getting some text messages. Like we're getting teed up in the background.
The text usually starts with, you should ask him.
Yeah, the one about this or the one about that. And asking which guy did this. And it's great, especially when you've got some stories ready to go. Or I find it better as well when you're interviewing and you were there for the story, but you get to hear somebody else's side of it. So you might have seen the story from this side, but they might have been stood on the other side of the bar, so they're telling it from there. And you're like, oh, I didn't even see that on the night. That's so funny. And you get to relive it, and you get to.
Sometimes you come out, you have no idea what you're gonna hear, and you hit end, and you're like, I can't believe that I just heard that. Okay. Anyways, the Slough Jets. I'm pretty sure it might have been Darnell. I asked who best place to go for late night eating on away trips.
Did he say Slough kebabs?
Yeah, kebabs. He did bring it up. Yeah,
Slough kebabs. Yeah, legendary. Right at the end of the road there. Everybody used to love a Slough kebab on an away trip, and the home guys, we ate there sometimes. But when we played in Slough, we used to have a rink manager called a Nil. And it was like free beers in the bar after the game, and he would actively encourage like the guys to stick around, have pints, and then we'd have karaoke, so the fans would stick around. There'd be like 350 fans sticking around on Sunday after games, or especially like the second season when we had all the Scottish boys down, so we had all the Fife boys down, and we do that. Then we go out nights out in Windsor, back to the team house, poker nights, and just Slough was a fun place to play until Zoran Kozik started putting too much emphasis on himself. If you're unaware of who he is,
who?
Zoran Kozik. He played a little bit in London, and then in Haringey, and he come to Slough. He's like an investment banker. The guy's worth cake, but he was he became the owner, and he'd like miss practice and come in and be like IPP. He'd be chiseling. He'd wear a face cage. The guy was a prick. Like
the guy was on your team.
Yeah, like he owned it.
The owner played on the team.
It was a fucking gong show. Honestly, I can't explain it to you. So there was money trouble at the end of the first year, and obviously he was caked. He was just the import the first year, and he was just, like, he's not a bad player. Like, guy can score a goal. He's good. He was like a Yugoslavian guy, and the money issues come. He then sets up this like Haringey charity foundation or whatever, who run the team. So basically, it's a tax write-off for him, right? So he can call them a charity. He puts the money there. You can deduct it from his tax or whatever. And it was quite clearly that's what it was. But he would then be like undermining the coach, and the coach would be doing a team talk. He'd turn up late, walk in the fucking room, and it just got really tiresome. And in the third year, I left to go to the Isle of Wight. Basically, Zoran was actually pretty tough. He didn't fight a lot, but he was a pretty tough guy. But he was also wearing a face cage because he had this high important job. And my first couple of seasons, I'd fought maybe 3 or 4 times for him. I fought Kaminskis for him. I fought a couple of tough cats for him, just because, you go after the import. I'm going to come and we're going to go. But he did something in the third year. We were playing Chelmsford away, and he fucking spears a guy in the back of the legs. And the guy challenges him and cross-checks him or whatever. And he comes back to the bench. And he goes, "What? Go fight that guy." I was like, "No. A, don't tell me when to fight. I know when to fight. I don't need you to tell me when to fight. And B, I just watched you fucking spear him right in the back of the legs. Like, if anybody's fighting him, you go fight him yourself.
Yeah.
Go fight him yourself. Like, I'll fight, bud. Don't worry. I'm game to fight. But I just watched you spear him No, go fight him yourself. That was bullshit. Like, that was a cheap move.
You made your own bed. Yeah.
Yeah. If don't get me wrong, if he speared you first, you speared him back, I'll go fight him. That's fine.
Yeah.
But you cheap shotted him. You're gonna have to take this one. And it was at that moment there, we were like 3 weeks into the season. I'm like, I'm done here. So unbeknownst to them, I start calling around, and at this point, I'm about to go sign for Isle of Wight. Jason Coles, a big import, Ontario boy. I'm gonna go sign and play for Colesy down on the island. But that day, I get a phone call later on from Warren Rust, and Warren's a coach, and he's like, "Look, why things aren't working out? Zoran said you're gonna have to go." So I'm like, "Okay, bud." He's like, "So yeah, if you want to come down and get your last 2 weeks' wages and get your kit, we're all good here." So I'm like, "Perfect, come down, get my kit," and I go to Wazza. So glad you called me when you did, because I signed for Colsey this morning. I was going to ring you up this afternoon, let you know, but instead I got 2 weeks wages. Thanks very much, bud. See you later. I got my 2 weeks notice. I signed for the Isle of Wight that day, and I went into the
Isle of Wight.
Oh mate, what a time!
Where's the Isle of Wight? My geography is
right off the south coast of England. It's as close to France as you can get, pretty much. It was a little ice cube.
They have
rink.
a hockey team.
They used to. The rink is no more, which is a travesty. You used to get the boat across, so you just have to get the boat across from the mainland, from either Portsmouth, Southampton, or Gosport. You get the boat across, and there's nothing else on
Southampton.
Yeah,
there's a Southampton 30 minutes down the road.
Southampton 30 minutes down the road from me too, right here, literally down the road from here. So I'm not far from the south coast. In Basingstoke, I'm like 40 minutes one way from London, 45 minutes the other way. You got kind of Bournemouth, that Portsmouth, and those south coast places. So we used to get from Portsmouth over the water, down the rickety old bridge, and into the tiny little barn. The barn was tiny. It was like netting as well. It was fucking horrible, and it was awesome as a place to play. It was so much fun. Nightclub was right next door. You play for the island. There's no other real sport there apart from like the speed motorbikes. So there's nothing else to do. How big's
this island? How many people are on this island?
Ooh, I don't know. It's quite a big island. Isle of Wight. I'm gonna get on the old Google machine here.
Do it. You were there for 2 years, and it's you had already kind of came into your own with Slough, but with those fellas there on the island, when you're hit the nightclub after the game and you're probably living it up, having a great time, and you're not playing with that guy anymore.
Anymore, no.
But you got 194 pibs and 131 pibs and about a point a game for 2 years.
I was always trying to be, like, throughout my whole career, I always wanted to be a point a game guy. And I was pretty consistent around that mark. Every game I was getting a point. I always wanted to be the top face-off guy on the team, and I normally was. For most parts in the league, I was a high. If you think of Matty Myers kind of face-off statistics, I was running that through my whole career. So they would have, like, the big things, and then obviously being able to step in and do the other part of the game when that is needed. So when I went to Isle of Wight, I kind of wanted to come in and have a bit of chip on my shoulder. I started dropping the gloves a little bit more. I think I've been in the league for maybe 2 or 3 years, so the confidence is growing. You know, like, I'm fighting bigger guys, I'm fighting tougher guys. I'm still doing just as well. So
who's the toughest guy you fought?
Derek Campbell, Pisey. They're both big tough boys.
Who's Pisey? I don't know.
Andre Pyatt.
Oh, okay.
He's a big boy. He's out in Alberta right now in the GMHL, coaching the kids there. But he was like an elite league heavy for a long time. That wasn't a great fight. The fight against Derek Campbell was a good fight. He's a tough boy. He was he fought a lot in the elite league back in the day for like Newcastle, and where else did he play? Hull Stingrays. He played up in Scotland, so he was a good player as well. And then some of the British guys that you might not think about. So guys like Michael Wales, who's a lightweight, but man, he was tough and he could chuck knucks and he was game. Like, he was no defense. Let's go. Let's just do this. Brad Watson.
Everybody's got their own style, eh?
Yeah.
Some guys are willing to just trade. Some guys tie you up. Some guys are like do the little jab. Some guys do the body shots. Everybody's different.
And Muzzy could get out of his like you had to be careful where you grab Muzzy. So if you grabbed him in the wrong place, he was like Rob Ray, he'd be like, phew, and he'd have no gitch on you, like, huh?
And then you got nothing to hold on
It was
to.
like, how have you just done that with one grab? You're just like a magician. Like there was so many guys that you might not think of, like even guys like Brad Watchorn, maybe not that well known, but if you want a toe-to-toe tilt, then Brad is, let's go, let's do this. And we had like 3 good ones where we kind of went toe-to-toe. They were fun. Anyone that was really willing to trade toe-to-toe was always fun.
So you think it's fun? Because I find it interesting. Like I actually I got beat up a handful of times, but I actually really enjoyed I guess challenging myself and seeing if I could like not get beat up too bad in the fight, you know?
Well, it's the ultimate test, really, because there's only you and one other guy, right? And
it's really tiring, and everybody's watching too, right? Because if you get beat up, the whole arena's watching, the players, the coaches, the fans.
Especially now, like you're 3 seconds away from being a gift for the rest of your life of getting absolutely one bomb. That's no fun.
No.
Like now you're going to be a meme popping up on everyone's Instagram when you're sleeping at the side of the bench. It's not a good look.
No, not a good look.
Never wanted that to happen. So just, I think it was fun, and sometimes it was intimidating. Sometimes it was scary. Sometimes it was just pure adrenaline. But a lot of the time it was a couple of goals down. Yo, do you want to give me one here? Like, no, there's not animosity. It's like, can you give me one? Like, can we go? Or
because you're trying to change the game for your team, because you're trying to get the boys going, right? And sometimes they won't give it to you because they don't want you to get one over on them, and then all of a sudden you change the game, right?
Absolutely. And that's what you try to do. You try to get an edge.
Then you got to start pissing them off enough that they'll finally fight you, right?
Oh yeah, that was always an X move. It was like, if you're not gonna, but for me in that league below, because there was only 4 imports or 5 imports, depending on what it is. If you don't fight me, I'm gonna come after your import. So you're gonna fight me in a minute. So you might as well just do it now. If you don't, I'm gonna go straight after your import. I'm gonna fucking chase me around for 5 shifts, and then you're gonna have to come out and fight me anyway. So let's just do it now and stop messing up. Yeah, it's just way easier for everybody. And you find a lot of the British guys were like, all right, let's go. Let's do it. And I think we all had a mutual respect, as much as there was like a rivalry and a not wanting to lose, but there was always a mutual respect there. And I think I've interviewed quite a lot of the guys that I've tilted over the years now, and there's never any animosity. It's always fun to hear from them and how they think the fight went, and I like it.
It's the same as yelling at the refs on the ice, right? Once the game's over, you can all chat about it, right?
Yeah, you can have a beer and it's done.
Yeah. Okay, so you're there the 2 years, then you go to Swindon. I've been in that barn. It's an interesting barn. It's kind of like a figure skating rink, eh?
Yeah, I wish they would put stands on the other side, though, because knowing Steve Nell, the Swindon owner, he could fill the other side. So get some more stands in there. I know it's because it's a leisure facility as opposed to an ice rink. Yeah, you've got the ice rink there, but you got the climbing wall, you got the snooker center, you got the swimming pool, you got like pool tables and whatever else is. You got roller.
It's not
hockey.
really set up to be like a big venue for hockey, but you did well there again too, eh? So how'd you end up in Swindon? Why are you switching?
Pete Russell took the coaching job. Obviously, I played for Pete at GB, and he sold it to me. I got to go play with my brother on that team, I believe, that year. Let me have a look. And for me, I wanted to not have to get a boat across water anymore. Like, I was just done with that. I was going to get to play with some good guys. If you look, so Mcdavid, and we just had him on the show. He was a good lad, and I got to play with imports like John Wheaton. He was an absolute beauty. He played quite a bit in the Elite League. He was a good guy. And then a good old Ontario boy, John Sitko, got to play with that beauty.
John Sitko.
He used to kill guys, man. Open ice hitter, big shot, just a heavy country farmer boy, just fix. How old is Sit's been now?
I was going to say, that name's ringing a bell, and I can't figure out why.
He played in the coast. He played in the coast before he came here, actually. I think we signed him straight from the coast. Let's have a look here. He's 38. He's Kitchener, Ontario.
I'm 38 from 15 minutes away, so I do know him.
Oh, Bowling Green. He played for Bowling Green for 4 years.
So I played against him there too.
That's how you know him. And then 3 years in the coast, Toledo and Gwinnett Gladiators. And then he came over here and just open ice hit everybody in the league. And I remember the first weekend watching him, was like, oh, yes, we've got a guy that just loves killing people. Have you, like, a bit like that Riley Brandt that Cardiff have signed? By the way, my favorite player in the Elite League this year.
He's old school, eh?
He's my favorite player in the Elite League. He fucking crushes guys. And
like, he is not worried about what might happen to him when he's going to go hit someone. He's going to go hit them and not worry about the consequences. I like that. Good for him.
He's full send every time, and I love that. He's a good player, and nice to see him get off the mark and get a couple of goals towards the end of the year as well.
Okay, we better keep going here. We all got vacations to get to, and I got a half day work to do still, right?
Oh, mate, yeah, me too.
Okay, that season though, you get called up to Basingstoke in the EIHL, and you score your first EIHL goal.
Yeah, Coventry away. Sadly, the game was kind of done by that point. I had more opportunities to go up and play with Basingstoke that year, but I wasn't really feeling it, to be honest. So I played a couple of games, and it was more to help out the guys on the team, because throughout me playing in all these places, I was traveling and I lived in Basingstoke. So I'd still hang out with the Bison boys, even though I was in the league below. Like, we'd still go for beers, we'd still go for dinner, we'd still go shoot pool or golf or whatever it was. So, I mean, I was still skating once, twice a week with Basingstoke. They needed me to step up. So I stepped up, played a couple of games, regular shift, and yeah, scored against Coventry away, just a wraparound.
Okay. Well, so then after that year in Swindon, you guys are probably pretty good if that Pete Russell's career keeps going up and up, right?
Yeah, and we probably underperformed that year. We had some good players. I think we had some bad goaltending. We just didn't get it done. We were like kind of mid-table, but I think we expected better. We played against some teams that were better than us. It's that simple.
So then after that, though, you go to the Bracknell Bees, and I wrote down, is this your prime? You get 64 points, 140 pims, 58 points, 164 pims. And those were both over 20 goal seasons.
I played a lot of I played top minutes, was on top line. Our line was the best line in the league. If you look at it and you ask anybody.
Were they with Czech guys? Czech imports?
Yeah, with Pink and Seski. Playing with those two guys was a hoot, honestly. They came from France and they came over. Both the biggest two beauties you ever want. Both love Pops. Pinky loves Pops more than anyone I've ever met. He tells a great story about his draft. He got drafted by San Jose, and he gets absolutely waffled before the draft, and he has to go to a thrift store to buy a suit to rock up to get drafted in. He's got like a suit on that's 3 sizes too big for him. He tells me this story like the first time I meet him in really bad broken English, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to love this guy. Played with him. And he would ring our captain. He'd ring him on a Thursday, and he'd be like, "Tell, I know skate. My legs, they no good. I know come. Be like, Pinky, have you been in the pub? Have you been in the pub? Like, what have you been doing? He's like, my legs, they're just no good. And he wouldn't turn up. You come on Saturday, you get like 4+2. You're like, what? He was so good. Like, when he wanted to be, he was like 115, 120 kilos. He was a strong boy. You couldn't knock him off the park. And then Seski, he was so fast when he came. And those guys kind of changed the way I played. It was nice to play with them because instead of dumping pucks and chasing, they wanted passes to tape. Like, and when you're playing with good players, you get it back. Sometimes, sometimes you get it back. But
yeah.
Sometimes they just like to wheel around and try and get as many goals as they can. But the arguments those boys would have on the bench. Oh, I just sit here in the middle. I'd sit down and they would just be stood there, one either side of me, going to town, like full blown arguments. I wish we had video to be able to go and look back on, because fans wouldn't believe it.
And I do believe it. I've Czechs or Eastern Europeans, some players from that side of the world. Like, man, when it comes to scoring and getting points and like the culture they're raised in, like, man, they're right into her. Like, they will argue about guys not being good enough, or why didn't you pass it to me there? Like, they can get right.
Pass me.
Yeah. You also played with your brother though, eh? So you played with your brother a bit then, a few years.
Odds and sods. I don't think we ever really finished. My brother got released from the, here's a funny story. So Ryan got released from Bracknell that year. So that season, there was some problems with our team showers in the home locker room. And we were having to walk around the arena and go into like the old changing rooms to shower up. And walking around the rink, you know, guys are walking around in towels and sandals. It's like 11:30 p.m. at night. And my brother walks across the rink and he does the mangina. He tucks the old mangina in and is like, does a pose like this. Anyway, like one of the boys take a picture. It goes onto like social media. And the next day we get called in. There's loads of shit going on. And then someone said he was depicting Christ. So for what? Depicting Christ. It's like, no, he was in a mangina. Like he was. So he ends up getting released. He got banned from the ring.
And this is from a guy on his own team posting it on social media.
Yeah, like for a bit of fun. Like it was a bit of fun that it went wild. The Bracknell, you know what it's like with cancel culture and all that shit. Bracknell like obviously folded like a red hot Mars bar. I think he would then went to Slough and won the playoffs that year. So it worked out right for him. It worked out great for him. It was terrible for us because we just lost one of our better players. Those 2 seasons were crazy. We got called into a team meeting one night, and it was like Tuesday practice, and the owners are there, managers are there, everybody's there. We're like, this can't be good. When we walk into the locker room, everyone's sitting down, and they're like, "Where's the team car?" Outside his team house. They're like, "No, it's not." Pinky had parked it in a bush outside the Crownwood pub in Bracknell. It was on a house in a state. They're like, we've been called by like the car park company that the fully yellow bees logo all over the side of it is parked in the bushes outside the pub. Can someone go get the car? And like, you boys need to tone her down a little bit. That was that kind of season. Absolute carnage, those Czech guys.
They can be aggressive, right?
They're just so much fun. They bring their parents over. Their parents always they always come with the good snacks and like the homemade Czech Slavitsa, and just, you know, like they love the hockey.
Czech beer's pretty good too. There's a couple Czech beers I had. There's a dark one that was really good I had. Yeah. I
love Prague. My time there, I went out to Prague, and what a great spot.
It sure is a fun fact, love story. That's where the Waltons got engaged. You know?
Oh, nice.
On Charles Bridge. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Very cool spot.
I'm a very romantic guy. I don't know if you could tell.
Well, me too. I was Bow Bridge in New York for my proposal.
Bridges. Yeah.
Big shout out to the Bridges. Do you want a funny story about that?
Sure. Love funny stories.
Fuck. I don't sound good here, but never mind. If anybody's been to New York and you've been to Central Park, I don't know about you, Wally. When you went to Charles Bridge, did you have a picture in your mind of how it was going to look and how it was going to be and how you was going to do it?
I had the dog with me, Beckham, and like I was going to get him to sit, and then I was going to go down beside him. But then it was raining, and the dog wouldn't sit down.
The dog's like, nope.
He's like, I'm not sitting down, and I'm like, oh God, what do I do? She's like, why are you trying to get the dog to sit down? And I'm like, fuck it, I'm just gonna do it.
Well, I had this picture in my brain of how it's going to look because I've seen Bow Bridge before. And I guess the guy that takes all the pictures from Google takes them at 5:30 a.m. when there's not a soul in Central Park, right? So I'm picturing like this nice Bow Bridge, nice and dead. So we've been out on like the stupid pond thing, and we've done the horse and carriage thing. And the guy in the horse and carriage,
you're really doing it, eh? You're just melting.
So the guy on the horse and carriage is all like, yeah, you know, so Central Park's like a really good place to propose. I'm like, bro, will you shut the fuck up? Like, seriously, right now, guy. Like, come on.
You bringing it up right now?
Yeah. So
maybe it's because you're on a horse and carriage ride.
Yeah, Nicky. But so was like a million other people.
You don't go on a horse and carriage ride unless you're proposing.
Oh, dude, by the way, it's the worst like $80 I ever spent that horse and carriage ride. But anyway, that's neither here nor there.
You're looking at a horse's ass. And
he's it was just a terrible experience. She wanted to do it, so we did it. I got to go to 3 NHL games while we were there, so it was pretty cool compromise. But I'm getting away from the point. So we get to Bow Bridge, and I was like, oh my God, it is packed. I'm like, shit, it's so busy. So I'm like, let's take another walk around. So we walk around the lake once, right? And we come back, and I come back the second time, and it's even busier. And I'm like, oh, now I'm panic stations. Yeah. Anxiety's through the roof. I don't know what to do because I've got ADHD, right? So it's not a certain way. I'm like, that's not right. So I'm like, I start walking around again. I'm like, no, I can't go around again. And then get about halfway. And I'm like, actually, let's go back this way. We go back. I was like, oh, the bridge is quiet. We get a picture now, blah, blah, blah. And then I did it then. Yeah, like 2.5 laps of the lake to get the bottle to do it.
Finally buckle down and do it, eh?
Yeah, and then they go like a standing ovation from everybody on the bridge. And
it was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Okay, well, the shed loves love stories. Okay, so then after Bracknell, you have 2 fantastic years. It sounds like people are having fun. So why do you go back to Swindon?
Try and make myself not sound like a dick here. That second year in Bracknell, so you had the best line in the league. We played for Claude Dumas that first year. Second year, they brought in Gareth Cox. He was a coach of the Hornets the year before, which was a league below, which was like a mile away from our league. And they won everything in that league with the best team. And then they thought, well, we'll promote him. And he wasn't good enough for a start. He's a nice guy. He was a good coach at the level below. He wasn't good enough for our level. He also then brought a bunch of guys with him that were not good enough for the level either because they were his boys. So all of a sudden, then he splits our lineup to try and sort the depth out. I was like, you've just split up the best line in the country, in the league. So just like weird things like that. And then I was like, do you know what? Fuck that. I'm not doing that again. And in fact, Swindon took me, Pink, Seski. They took us all. So it was a package deal. They took the whole line. Well, yeah, why wouldn't you? With the best line in the league? Like, it's like, it made sense. Like, you had a bit of everything on that line. You had scoring, you had grit, you had good face-offs, you had fights, you had speed, you had everything you wanted. So yeah, we all went that year, and we played in Swindon. We had a really good team that year in Swindon, and we had a lot of fun. Like, we had Jonas Hoog, who was an absolute stud. Swede. It's always nice to have a Swede on your team. Those boys are good lads. Yeah, they definitely are. So you go to Swindon then, or you're back there for 2 years, but the second year then you switch and head back to Basingstoke. Yeah. So to be honest, it wasn't really spoke about then, but my mental health wasn't great. The traveling was doing my head in, and what do you mean by that? The travel's doing your head in, like the bus trips, or like the fighting, or what? No. Like Swindon. So I lived in Basingstoke, like I said. Swindon's 50 miles. So you're going Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, and the traveling. So you were living at Basingstoke. Yeah, stuff with my chick at that time wasn't good, so it was kind of just like that's weighing on your mind, and I just didn't want to be there. And I went in and told him, and I said, look, I need to go home. I just need to go back and play at home and ride it out. I thought Basingstoke had a really good team that year. I thought I was chasing trophies a little bit, I must admit. There was a bit of that going on as well. Shep brung me in, and we had a really good team. We were very close. I think we lost in a shootout at the semi-finals of the playoffs. We were the better team, I think. And I was chasing trophy a bit there. It was easy just to come home, finish the season. So they just let you go, and then you could go back home, and you went back home. Well, do you know what? The day I walked in the office, they literally were like, we'll give you double the money to stay. And I was like, it's not about it. And it wasn't about the money. I mean, looking back, I should probably, because we didn't win, I should have sucked it up and doubled down on the dough for 3 or 4 months. But it wasn't about the money. It was just about trying to get back closer to home, sort my life out and stuff, not necessarily at the rink. Yeah. Okay. So then after that year, you do leave Basingstoke again. So you play with Peterborough Phantoms and the Guildford Flames. Well, Peterborough again. And this is your last year of hockey. Yeah. So that year, like I said, I played my first year with Hutchie in Basingstoke. So Hutchie was going to be my roommate in Peterborough. I was going to have a room in a house there. So Hutchie. James Hutchinson played for Belfast, played for Dundee, played for Hull Stingrays, played for quite a few elite league teams. So we kind of were going to live together. Thomas Murdy I played with Merds in Swindon. He was going to be our goalie there. He was going to be our other housemate. So it was going to be me, Hutch, and Merds. I was like, I'm going to go to Peterborough, like have a great time. And then it was going really well there. We were enjoying ourselves. And then there was a coaching change. Slava came in. Slava was like, it's not going to work. He wanted to bring his own guys in, wanted to bring his own spin on it. So at that point, I'd always wanted to play for Guildford. I just reached out to Digger. I said, look, I'm going to be leaving Peterborough. What have you got? And he took me down to Guildford. First game after getting gas for Peterborough for Guildford was Peterborough away. I score the first goal, set up the second goal, score the winning penalty shot, backhand shot. Thanks for coming. Skate past the bench, tell Slava to go fuck himself, and that was it.
Great feeling though, eh?
Oh, such a good feeling. Like one of the best.
Oh.
One of the best. And
I still remember the day my first game with Helbron against Bietigheim after 4 years there. And then I switched to their biggest rivals. We play a home game against Bietigheim, tied 2-2, like a minute left in the game. And I get the puck and I hit the fucking post and we lose the game in overtime. And I had that shot and it didn't go in. And then they end up beating us. And then after the game, the little dickhead coach comes out and is like, hey, Wally, great to see you. And I'm like, yeah, I bet it is because you won the game. I should have scored that goal. So then I could have said, hey, nice to see you.
Yeah, you could have just rubbed one in there if you bury. But it's just those little things that stick out when you look back at those kind of moments. And with it being my last season, again, I thought a good chance of a trophy in Guildford. Once again, just fell just short in the semi-finals, I believe. I think we'd lost by a goal.
So you knew it was your last year?
Yeah, I was personal training more then and try to build a business, and like leaving at 3:30 on a Wednesday to go skate in Guildford and then come back and go back to work. And then it was just.
So your home base when you're in the league below the EHL, right? Your home base is usually Basingstoke then?
Yeah, always.
Really?
And then just traveling, and you're traveling with other guys because there's generally a couple of you from whatever direction playing for teams all over.
Because in those leagues, they don't want to be paying for your housing and all that shit then?
There was housing and stuff, opportunities. I could have went and stayed in the house in Guildford, but you got to remember when you're in those leagues, you've got a business, you've got other things going on. So a lot of the guys that work in that play in that league is because they have jobs. And like for me, I was PT and I was doing that and then playing. It gets a lot when you're trying to like, or you're canceling clients. And let's face it, the money's okay in the EPL, but it's not great. Yeah, I think Guildford was maybe 350 a week. So what's that? It's like 1,400 quid a month. But 350 is fine until you realize you have to give up your Saturday and Sunday where you could do, say, 3 clients on a Saturday and make 120 quid by 9 a.m.
Or you've been working all week and you're like, geez, it'd be nice to have a weekend off.
Yeah. And those sort of things. And then obviously I failed a drug test in the summer of that summer. And that was all she wrote. Got 8-year ban, which is actually done in 2 weeks. So we might be making an appearance with some coaching, but the playing side, I don't see that coming back. I really don't.
No.
The other thing
but
is
you're back in the game with the podcasting.
This is the other thing, right? I don't want to affect my pod right now. I love it too much. I really enjoy doing it. And the thing is, the minute I go back into coaching, I have to register for the EIHA. The minute I register for the EIHA, can I still talk about them as much on the pod? Or are they going to be like, well, we're going to ban you if you said this on the podcast. You said that. Right now, they don't have any power.
The cancel culture you bring up.
Yeah, and they can't do that to me right now because I'm not registered. I can do what I like.
Right. And so my website, aleshockeytales.com, folks, we're speaking of like monetizing this. We don't make money doing this, but we do have a website which helps with organizing fun and selling shirts and stuff. And basically, if you want to sponsor our website, the fella says we're getting like 3,000 visitors a month at the moment. I don't feel like I'm going to get smaller. So I'm not stopping, I just got up at 5 a.m. to talk, right? So I don't think I'm stopping anytime soon. So if you want to sponsor the website, you want to join the Shed family, feel free to reach out and we'll get you up on the website, link it to your business, whatever you got on the go. Right?
It's the way to do it, baby. Let's go. Let's help keep supporting the so-called smaller guys, although we're big over here, and you are as well, compared to some of these big budget podcasts, we're night and day. So all the fan support, whether it be your fans, our fans, let's go, baby. Let's keep it rolling, and let's keep spreading the good word and getting the good guys out there, because it's so much fun. I mean, this has been fun to look back on some of my old stories. And
Right. It's like on social media there, when I think I posted that like the two of us were in the top 5 in the UK for hockey podcasts in the world. Like, that's of any podcast being made in the world, that both of ours were in the top 5 of the UK. Like, that is crazy to me. I think that's banana
quite consistently as well, I'd say.
Right. And the thing was then when I did that, you guys supported me. You posted the picture. It said, look at us in the top 5. And you mentioned myself and that I'd been on your pod, and that, we're in this together. We're fighting the big boys.
Too right. I love it. I love the underdog story, man.
Yeah. And what else do I got here? So you knew it was time to shut her down then, but you've been to Cardiff. Okay.
Yep.
Chippy Lane, ever been there?
Oh, mate, I went to Chippy Lane when I was like 6. Come on. I went to Chippy Lane. We used to go there after under 10
but
games.
You're a personal trainer now. You're probably telling people you're probably saying, no, don't go down this road, folks. Salads are over here.
Oh man. No, I tell you what, I would get down Chippy Lane. I haven't been down there in a few years, I must admit. The last night out in Cardiff, stag do, we just went to the gay bar and partied all night. It was unreal. So there was not really much eating going on, just drinking and cocktails and shooters and stag do kind of behavior, really.
Did you say you guys went to the gay bar in Cardiff on the stag do?
Oh mate, it was so good, honestly.
Where's the gay bar in Cardiff?
Well, I don't know. I was buckled before we even got there. I know. Basically, we was in like a couple of the bars downtown, and it was just so busy, so much testosterone flying around. When you're in a group of 10 lads, it's a bit like, I could probably do without this. So one of our friends who actually lives down there, he knew a couple of girls. They came out with us, and they're like, well, we know this bar. And dude, we went into this gay bar, and it was wall-to-wall rockets. No bad behavior from anybody. It's like VIP table service. So it was phenomenal. Like, good tunes, good atmosphere.
Did you say it was wall-to-wall rockets?
Oh, insane.
In rockets, you mean guys?
No, smoking hot chicks everywhere. Every step. Every other chick in there was a rocket. It was ridiculous. I've never seen anything like it. They've all got the gay best friend, right? They've all got the gay best friend, and they go out with their gay best friends to fun bars like that because there's no testosterone full dickheads.
And they let you 10 lads into that place. Like, it's supposed to be the gay bar.
Honest, yeah, but just because it's a gay bar doesn't mean you can't go in there. And they really looked after us, and they're like amazing service. And obviously we spent like 10 of you in there spending some dough, right?
Yeah.
They're not going to complain. But yeah, so Cardiff's always a good spot. Chippy Lane, I love it.
Well, it's like when we'd go to O'Neill's with 10 guys from the hockey team after a hockey match. And like you say, with the testosterone, next thing you know, there's some punks trying to like start stuff. And you're like, we can't get in trouble. We can't like fight you. Like, what are you doing? But they want to give it a whirl against the Cardiff Devils, right?
Of course they do. They can make a little name for himself if they're little homies down in the town, but you don't need that.
No. So I guess you shut it down then because of the drug thing then?
I mean, to be honest, I was already done playing, so I got tested like 2 months after the season, just about to go on holiday, and I'd been taking some like fat burners and shit, and I got tested positive for that. So it was a massive witch hunt, which we won't go onto on here. But if you ever want to hear the story, we'll shoot the shit one day off air because it's a deep story. But it's coming to an end. I got until the 16th of June here, and then we'll see.
Yeah, well, that's weird. It's weird that they're testing you to like I don't know. It's all very like, anyways, whatever, right?
Yeah, mate, a long time ago now. It's actually flown by though. Like, everyone's like, what, 8 years? It's like, boom, it's gone. Kid coming, so lots of different kind of priorities now, right?
Well, you're busy enough with, you got the personal training, you got the podcast, and now you're going to be getting shit and puked on, right?
I look forward to it.
You should. It's life changing shit, man.
Can't wait, man.
Yeah, it's quite the time. It's crazy to think, like, when I was over in Cardiff and, like, you talk about going to those games, it seems like so long ago I've been over there and seen people, and like it's weird that people are listening because it's just me over in my shed in Kincardine. But yeah, it's I miss all the people over there. I guess that's why you start the shed, right?
Yeah, lovely people down in Cardiff. I'm always very well looked after when we go down there, so I love it there.
Well, yeah, man, it's been great catching up again, and honestly, very proud of you guys for what you're doing for the UK hockey scene. I know you guys are just having fun too, like me, so that's what's cool about it, and that, like, you guys are doing one episode a week, and I'm I got to work 3 times as hard. I'm doing like 3 a week just to be up there in the rankings.
You're killing it, my friend, and I love the friendly rivalry, and I love that everyone's got each other's backs here. And
I think it's fun to compete, right?
Absolutely, of course it is. Like, we've been competitors our whole life, so I mean, a bit of friendly rivalry is always good. And the fact that, like, we're kind of getting each other on and bigging each other up and sharing each other's love, it's just the way to go. I know there's like a lot of new podcasts in the UK that have kind of popped up now since us guys, really. I mean, there's been some OGs before us, but in terms of actually the amount of listening numbers and the amount of people now tuning into hockey podcasts within the UK, I think both our podcasts are a massive part of that. It's just fun, and someday I'm gonna have to meet this partner of yours, Bandy. We get the Bandy on, get Mac on, get the boys on. We've always got some fun stories. We've been hanging out a little bit, so we've done a lot of road trips together. I'm sure we could probably just do an episode and tell you stories from that.
And that is one thing I'm a bit jealous of, is that you do have like a team of guys that you're doing it with, and that you can go places together and be like, we're the 4,000 accounted guys, right? But for me, there's no way I could do that. I do not have the time to arrange it with another dude and another dude. Like, the times I can get a group chat together is more like, this is the time I got. Can you guys make this work or not?
Yeah, it's just obviously for us going to events. I think if all 3 of us were based in the UK, it'd be a lot easier. But with, at one stage, Mac being in Belgium, and then Bandy, he's always in Morzine. That's where he lives. So
he lives in Morzine, France. What a small world. I've rode a red saucer down that mountain.
What a place, eh? What a spot. That's what he lives right in the he lives right in the ski resort in Morzine. So I mean, he's not coming home anytime soon. So he has to come back for the trips. No, it's such a good spot. So we went out there for his wedding in January last year, right before this COVID bullshit kicked off, or the year before. And it's beautiful, and would recommend anybody that's not been to go check it out.
And it's very small world with, like, we're talking about that, and then Morzine, France is where Pigs and I, who you played minor hockey with, like, him and I ran a muck on that mountain.
Oh, great job. I love it. Yeah. What a spot. Great place for an après, and just, a really cool spot. So if you haven't been,
enjoy your vacation next weekend, and the Waltons are going camping after a half-day work, got some shit to do. And this has been another episode of Zero Ales and Hockey Tales with Waddy and Wally.